Well, hi everybody, it's Kevin.
Hey Kevin, I'm Ralph. Welcome to Cavalcade of Food. We did a little switcheroo.
That's right. So this time Ralph's in front of the camera and I'm behind it.
The reason being is that I'm creating something to take to our family picnic, and what I'm making is a real basic staple for our family. It's frijoles, beans, and you know, they eat beans like this, these pinto beans down south. It's also where I enjoyed them when I lived in West Virginia. But I grew up on these beans made very simply with a delicious pinto bean flavor. So I'm going to try to recreate that for you today, and we'll take them to the picnic this weekend.
The big family reunion is on Saturday, and it's always a lot of fun. Wonderful to see the whole family there. So many people we only see once a year, really, at the picnic.
There's so many of us, we have to wear name tags to remind each other which family we belong to.
So, what we got here, Ralph?
So we started with a lot of beans because we're making a lot this time. So about 3 pounds is what we have here.
And these are dried pintos, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. And we rinse them and clean them, make sure that all the grit is out of them.
Okay.
And we're going to take them over here to the sink. And
so you're just gonna rinse them with cold water?
Yeah, cold water to get the grit off. As I said, clean them nicely, and I think it's important not to pre-soak the beans, but to let them cook for a good 3+ hours.
I was going to ask, sometimes when I know, like if people are making, bean soup or something like that with beans, they'll even soak them overnight in water, but you don't soak them at all.
No, the reason
you start with them dry?
Yeah, the reason being that I think when you pre-soak them, you lose a lot of that beany gravy that's created, that pinto bean flavor that comes out. So once they're rinsed well, you can take them right over to the pan, or bring the pan to you, and or the pot, I should say. We have a big, what is this?
That's an 8-quart pot.
So you put the beans in. Then you add the water.
Okay. So I see. So you got the beans in. All right. Now we're going to add. I see there's a pitcher of water there.
Yes. We're going to put this water right in. This is just an easy step saver. But basically, what you want to do is make sure that the beans are covered at least a couple of inches higher than the bean line.
I'm trying to get around your arm here.
Oh.
Okay. So you want the water a couple inches above the bean line
to start with, and then you're going to add water as the beans cook.
Okay.
So this first step is all pretty basic. It's just basically washing and then cooking the beans on a high temperature till they come to a boil. Then we're going to reduce the heat. So that's pretty much it to start with. We'll start with medium high.
Okay.
I'm not much for measurements, so I hope you all.
But I see the water's, about 2 inches above the beans is the water. So that's where we are. Now, do you put any seasonings in or anything at this point?
No, at this point we're just letting the beans cook. Like I said, bring it to a boil. Then we're going to bring it down to a low heat. And then we're going to simmer and cover. And once the beans are tender and softened, that's when we'll put the seasonings in.
Okay.
We do have a ham hock, though.
Let's
mention.
Let's see that. Look at that ham hock. Let me see if I can get it. Okay.
So that's a good, cheap way to season the beans and give them a good flavor. This is a fresh ham hock, too.
Okay, so not smoked. No. This is a fresh hock, but you can see that there's a lot of, you have the rind or the skin on there. So there's a lot of flavor in that piece of pork.
Also in the marrow, there's flavor.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yes, because it's got the bone.
So that's a good way to season the meat in a basic way, but you put it in early because that is something that you want to just really render down and flavor the frijoles.
Okay, so right now we're just going to wait for it to come up to a boil, is that right?
Yeah, we're going to let it boil, and we'll come back when it's time to add some more seasonings.
Okay.
And it's pretty basic.
So how long does this, once it brings to a boil, then we simmer?
Yeah,
and how long does it simmer for?
It's going to simmer for a few hours, like I said. You just have to be mindful of the time and just keep adding water as needed.
Okay.
And then, kind of test the beans as they soften. That's when you start adding your salt. Basically, it's really just salt and onion and maybe a little cumin.
Okay.
So we'll be back with that, cooking up a basic bean dish for our family reunion picnic this weekend. So the beans have been cooking for about
Ooh,
hours.
it smells so
You
good.
can really smell that beanie flavor.
Yes.
So we're going to start
Put that
to
ham
season them
hock
now,
in there.
but we're going to just make sure that the beans themselves are tender, which I'm sure they are because of how long they've been in there. But yeah, they're soft, and you can just see.
Let's see.
You can see it kind of mashing in my fingers. Ow, ow, ow!
Don't burn yourself.
Okay, so here's what
Hot
we
beans.
do next.
Okay.
Is we season to taste, but we're going to start with a tablespoon and a half of salt.
Okay.
Is that this one?
Yep.
As I said, I'm not a measuring kind of guy. I usually do things like my mom did by sight. So that's one. Which one's the half? This one?
Well, that's a teaspoon, but
Oh, so you just put like a half
yeah, just
measure or
there you eyeball it.
estimate,
Yeah.
eyeball it. Okay, so that's salt, and as I said before, you want to season after the beans have been cooking for a while, because otherwise the seasonings might just kind of cook out in a sense. But the ham hock has really flavored it well, and you can see the color, how they've lightened up, and it's created
let's
like
get
this
in here.
gravy, kind
Wonderful.
of
Bean
kind of
soup.
that bean soup that makes them so good. And some people add a jalapeno or different seasonings. I'm going to add a little bit of cumin.
Okay.
And we can't forget the onions.
Yeah. So how many? What do you?
These are 2 medium-sized onions chopped.
Okay.
And we're going to just put those right in and let those soften for the next, final cooking hour of.
So how much longer do these beans have to cook?
Well, these beans, we've added water, as I said to them, but they could probably cook another at least half hour.
Okay.
You don't want to get them too soft where they're just,
But will that be enough time for these onions to kind of soften up?
And it's really up to you. You can put them in sooner if you want the onions kind of just completely dissolved. But some people like the onion kind of more, solid in there. So we're almost done. We're just going to add a little bit of cumin, and that'll just kind of give it a little bit more of that Mexican flavor.
Yeah, cumin. That gives it that sort of that smoky, almost that it's that flavor that we always detect in chili.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a teaspoon, because a little cumin goes a long way.
Okay.
And you can, as I said, season to taste. I have a feeling we're going to need more salt, but I like starting, because you can, as Kevin always says, you can always
put more, but you can't take out.
So,
Okay.
So the beans are pretty much done. We're going to come back after they've completely finished and give it a taste test, but right now they're just going to finish, and they'll be ready for our picnic coming up on Saturday. So there's
Beautiful.
the beans for now.
Okay, so we'll let them do their thing, huh?
That's right.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. Okay, it's been just under an hour after the last time we were here visiting our beans, and we're going to sample them. You can smell that.
I can.
Yummy.
Look at that big hock in there. Now, what do you do with this now?
You can leave it in as if the beans are going to keep cooking longer, to just keep adding the flavor, and then eventually it will render down even more, and then the meat will just basically fall off the bones. You can also take it out and get that skin off, which is not too good for you, but there's lots of great chunks of meat in there.
On the inside. So you could kind of de-meat that and put the meat back in with the beans if you wanted to, eh?
Yes, that's the idea, and we're going to try the beans now, and I know they're going to be hot.
They smell awesome.
And
I mean, couldn't be simpler, really. It just takes time.
And that's the other thing too, is that you want to keep the flavor pretty basic and simple. So that's why I don't add garlic, or I don't add much more than salt and onions. And like I said, cumin is very optional. Some people add a jalapeno to spice it up, and but not much more than that. This is, like I said, not just a delicious Mexican frijole treat, but also down south, I've had beans like this when I lived in West Virginia with cornbread. It's just delicious. So I'm going to give it a little final cooling off blow. Give it a taste. Yeah. I'm happy with them. I don't think they need any more salt.
Okay.
Want to try some?
Yeah, I do. I do.
I just gave you kind of more of the soup, but
Yeah. Delicious. Oh my God.
another nice garnish is what were you gonna say?
I like the I get the little onion in that bite too, which was nice.
Another nice garnish is fresh cilantro on top.
of the bowl. Yeah.
To give it a nice little fresh kick.
Well, I know the family's going to really love this.
Yeah, they're at a good level of flavor right now, and we don't want to do much more to them. So
Enjoy making some beans for someone you love and take them to your next family outing. And thanks for joining us on Cavalcade of Food.
All right. See you next time.
Olé.
Adios.
Adios.